So hi Liz, hi Sheila, good to see you both. So
Hello.
for the purposes of the video, so I'm Rob Burley, I'm Director of Campaigns, Care and Support at MDUK. Sheila, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Hello, I'm Sheila Hawkins. I'm a trustee of Muscular Dystrophy UK and I have FSH muscular dystrophy.
Liz?
Hi, yeah, I'm Liz Williams. I am the chair of the FSH support group UK, and I'm also a peer support advocacy and ambassador for MDUK.
Thanks both. So we last were all together in York in November at MDUK's Patient Information Day, and we ran a session a bit like this, but in front of a lot of people and in the same room, just sort of really discussing people's experiences of FSHD. So we thought in the run up to FSHD Awareness Day, it'd be good to just sort of reconvene and see how you're both getting on and the kind of experiences that you've had. So sort of, first of all, since we were last together in November, where the world is pretty much unrecognisable. So what have your experiences been of the last few months, and how have you coped with lockdown and also just managing your FSHD? Sheila, do you want to go first?
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm very lucky. I have a job that's very easy to work from home. I have a partner and I have a garden. So in a sense, all those things make living with lockdown easier. My employer moved everyone to working from home on the 16th of March and is not anticipating anyone going back into the office till September. So all that makes it quite easy, really. I work 3 days a week, so that's okay. And I think the other thing is I was at home a lot last year because I broke my leg, and I think for me the galling thing is I was just in a position to kind of get back into the world. I'd learnt to use the trains. In February I went to London, Leeds and Birmingham on the train. I'd learnt to get on the bus in a wheelchair, so I was kind of woohoo, and now I'm told to stay inside, so it's a bit galling in that sense. Yeah, in terms of managing my muscular dystrophy, I've got a whole catalogue of exercises to be doing, which I get on with. But I'd really like to give a shout out to the Muscular Dystrophy Support Centre in Coventry, because they've been running online exercise classes and they are absolutely fantastic. So every Tuesday at 11 o'clock, there I am in front of the laptop with a physio and 3 other people, and we do a class together for an hour, and it's just brilliant. So that's been really helpful.
Oh, fantastic. How about you, Liz? What's your experience been?
So same really. Again, I decided not to go into, because I volunteer for Citizens Advice 2 mornings a week, and I'd actually decided the week before lockdown I wasn't going to go in anymore. It just got suddenly very scary, and then they actually helped us work from home like pretty quickly, like within a week or so. So it was, you know, apart from not actually going out, it was pretty much life as normal. And my other half, again, he's been at home, working from home. The kids are at home. My son, we brought him back from uni the week before lockdown as well. So the whole family's we've had extra time with the family, but, you know, can't go out. But it's not that much difference to my normal life, really, apart from not going out on a Monday and a Friday every week, really. So, yeah, it's just knocking on now, isn't it? It's just bit much.
But you're both in touch with a sort of wide network of people sort of living with FSHD, particularly you, Liz, in your role as with the FSHD support group. And so what are the kind of issues that are coming through from the community at the moment, and what kind of things are you being asked to help people with?
So initially it was getting shopping. It was just the not being able to go out, not knowing if you were shielding, trying to get the information. And luckily, with working for, you know, another charity that deals with that kind of information, it was just, you know, I was able to get that information. But still, it was like changing daily and quite difficult. But I think everyone's now in a place where they're getting the shopping, they've been on the delivery lists or whatever, and or on the emergency council lists, or got the information from the consultants now that enables them to tell their employers what's going on. But I think that was the main thing. It was just confusion. How do I shield? You know, how do I find out if I'm shielding? why haven't I got a letter? Am I getting a letter? Yeah, it was all confused.
Confusion, particularly in the first few weeks, I think was really prevalent, and so certainly through the MDUK helpline and through our own coronavirus guidance that we produced, it became very clear that we were having to change that almost daily in light of sort of changing guidance. And people's sort of confusion as to why they were or were not on the shielding list, but also kind of what it meant in terms of accessing education and employment, that kind of thing. So yeah, you're right, that kind of, at least now there seems to be a bit, people are starting to sort of get used to it potentially, but yeah, still definitely issues around. And Sheila, you've got a bit of an international perspective from the networks you're part of. So what
Yes. Yes, so I represent UK on FSH-D Europe, and that's also linked with the FSH Alliance, which is an international alliance of FSH patients organisations. I think what's really interesting is the kind of different approaches in different countries. I mean, the way lockdown has been enforced or implemented is quite different, and some people are really experiencing quite a lot of lack of access to services, and other people seem to be managing better. So it's interesting from that point of view. And I suppose in a sense, originally it was in Europe, so, seems to have tailed off a bit in Europe, but obviously it's going through Latin America much more. So interesting. And some organisations have managed to very quickly move a lot of their services online. The FSH Society in the States has set up all sorts of online events later this month. Other organisations, perhaps who are newer, are saying, well, you want to meet face to face, or there are fewer restrictions in that country. So, yeah.
That's interesting. They kind of adapted to restrictions. I think we found at MDUK even the slight differences across the 4 nations in the UK, of course. Yeah. With difficulty in keeping up to date with the advice. And I think on the virtual event side, we're definitely looking at how we can move our muscle groups and also the patient information days, like the one that we were at in York, online, because I don't think in the foreseeable future it's going to be so hard over the next few months to still bring people together. So yeah, and we should look at that international experience, think where other people have moved things online already.
Yeah, there's a World FSH Alliance meeting on the 8th of July, which is 2 hours of meeting, including in small groups, and then a break, and then another 2 hours of meeting. And I think in the break, they might have someone who'll help us do some stretch exercises, because we might need it back then. But it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Yeah.
Excellent. And the lockdown measures have started to be eased over the sort of past month or so, and there are reports today that shielding may be sort of relaxed entirely sort of later in the summer. How do you both feel about that, and kind of what are your thoughts about kind of easing that lockdown and potentially sort of shielding coming to an end?
I'd be really pleased. I mean, I would be out. I'm not being forced to go to work. My employer's not, there's no likelihood of having to go to work for another several months. I'd like to be out and about in the world. I mean, I'm not going to go clubbing or something like that, but I want to be able to just do things and get on with life. I think one of the risks, one of the problems with shielding, I think, is that the whole process has frightened a lot of people who've got no intention of going out. And I think one of the outcomes of shielding might be that disabled people are less visible and just are less able to participate as citizens. And I think that would be a very sad side effect of coronavirus. I think it's quite likely.
How about you, Liz? How are you feeling about the restrictions easing?
Yeah, it changes on a daily basis as to my emotional state of mind about it. But because I've got a family of, there's 4 of us living here. One's working at McDonald's at the moment. So he's already sort of bringing, potentially could bring it into the house anyway. But we've got 2 bathrooms, so we can, we sort of we're not in each other's faces or anything. My other son is going to school 1 day a week. Anyway, so the next step will be Chris going back to work, and then I don't think I'm going to go back to work until much later on, because we have to hot desk Pretty much, that's the only reason really. If it wasn't for the fact that I didn't have to, we didn't have to do that, then I would go back. I would probably go back because we use our own headphones. Yeah. So
interesting. My employer, we hot desk, but they're looking at the building and looking at arrangements for us, how they might rearrange things. So I think they might take hot desking off the agenda.
That's it. The rooms in the place where I work are very small. So, and you've got to see face to face, have appointments with people, and they've got to be private. So it's like, well, it's just not really going to be possible. And because of the nature of the work, people are always going to have a computer, so they can't always Zoom, etc. So it is going to really compromise some of the services they can offer. I guess it's the same with obviously the same with MDUK. But but hopefully there'll be a lot more online content, and it just gets us all using online. Zoom. I'd never. I mean, as much as I FaceTimed and Skype, Zoom was completely new to me, and it's like, wow, this is amazing, and it has changed, everything. So, yeah, I'm hoping that my partner's he's on a Zoom meeting in the other room for work. So it can all be done from home, but it's a bit dull, isn't it? Not going shopping.
I think that flexible approach from employers, and it's really interesting. To hot desking, I hadn't even thought about that as a kind of as an issue. And you suddenly realise that some employers will be able to give people sort of socially distanced desks, whilst others rely on hot desking in order to sort of keep the headcount sort of level. So that's going to be fascinating. I think I suspect that our helpline and our advocacy service may well be sort of get quite a few calls about how to have that conversation with an employer. Particularly if shielding is formally ended, actually kind of being flexible around someone's comfort in coming back and being able to work from home if they can, I think will be really important.
It's interesting, the organisation I work for, they've got about 1,600 staff, and they just moved everyone to remote working before lockdown, and I think they're now reviewing their estates, as in, do they really need as much facilities as they have, because so many people have been convinced that they can work from home a lot of the time. And they're talking maybe a system whereby a team would have a day to be in the office, so you'd have one day a week where you actually saw your colleagues, and the expectation the rest of the time you do things remotely. So I think they feel they've kind of, the new way of working can work quite well, really. So and I think I don't know, but I mean, I think it wouldn't be an issue if you had to carry on shielding. They'd find a way of working with that.
I think something that you said, Sheila, earlier about the risk of people who are shielding sort of becoming a bit invisible and the impact on them. The flip side of that is if we're all able to embrace this, we were saying beforehand how we've all become dab hands-ish at Zoom and Teams.
Better,
it's probably a better phrase. If we can all kind of embrace that, and actually the participation of disabled people who haven't been able to travel to big sort of physical conferences perhaps, or been able to take part in the workplace. Actually, if the workplace changes and those kind of big forums become a bit more virtual, then the flip side is potentially a more accessible sort of experience for people living with a disability.
I suppose, yes. I mean, I was thinking about things like trains. I know I probably won't get on a train for a while, but in a sense, if fewer disabled people are travelling, will the train companies be as adept as they are as getting people on and off trains if they have less practice? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. I mean, I think the whole thing about coronavirus is it's created lots of change in lots of ways very quickly, and what will we keep and what will we go back to?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Liz, Sheila, it's been great to catch up. Hopefully we can do this in person at some point in the future when we reopen our events. But thank you so much for your time. It's been great to sort of hear your thoughts on where we're at. And happy FSH-MD Awareness Day. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.